In this video, I'm going to show you how to make an article system where you can make a Google Doc and it'll automatically turn into an article. I'll go to an example of it, which is on my website, and over here you can just see it works, and this list was generated by just counting the files in my drive, and then I can go to a page and it will take a little bit, but then it'll open up the file. And this will update instantly without any delay, and that's kind of nice. So, to make this, I guess I'm going to have you guys go with a boiled down system of it. So this is on the bare bones of what you need to make it work, and it's on repo.it. I'm going to link this in the video. And what we're going to be doing is making it work for your end, right? So on your drive. To do that, we're going to have to replace three things inside of this file. What we're going to have to replace is the refresh token, the client ID, and the client secret. And these are things that you can make with a normal Gmail account. So we're just going to go through the steps of doing that, and then afterwards we might talk about like how you can modify it and make it more customized for your website. Okay, so the first step we're going to be doing is we are going to make a Google Cloud project. This is going to give us our client ID and our client secret, and those are going to let us make API calls to your Google Drive. So to get there, we are going to go to the Google Cloud Console. So we are just going to go here, and then we are going to make a new project. Okay, so you're probably going to end up with something along the lines of this, and what we need to do is we need to select a project, and we're going to have a new project in this case because you probably don't have one ready, and we are going to just make a project name. Now this doesn't really matter because no one's going to see it, so I'm just going to make this whatever. Now we're going to make that. Once it is done loading, we are going to go into it. Okay, so we have it finished. It's selected already, and now we are going to do the first step, which is enabling the Google API, Google Drive API, and that'll let us check our own drive with code and then print it. So we are going to go and we're going to go to the API and services area. Then we're going to go to the dashboard, why not? And then what we're going to do is go to this search bar and then look up Google Drive API. Okay, now that we have it searched up, we're going to click on it and we're going to enable it for this project. Okay, so I'm just going to wait for that to finish, and then we're going to go to the next step. So we have the API enabled. Now we are going to make our credentials. We are just going to go straight to that. So we're going to go to the API and services again, then we're going to go to credentials. Okay, now we are going to create credentials, and we're going to create a client ID. In the client ID, it's going to give us this thing that says we need a consent screen. And this is because normally it would do a pop-up, but this code doesn't do it, and in this case it makes a lot of this useless, but still necessary. Okay, so we're going to create the pop-up. The app name, no one's going to see this, so I'm just going to make it, I don't know. And we need to put an email, so I'm going to just put my spare email. Okay, now we are just going to continue, and no scopes are required in here. We do need a test user, and this is needed to make the refresh token, which is going to ask you to for permission to look in your drive. So you need to put the drive email in this area. Okay, and it's added. Okay, next step is going to be saving and continuing, going through this, And we just made the OAuth consent screen, but now we have to make the credentials because it kind of redirected us. So now let's go back to the OAuth consent client ID, and we're going to make a web application, and the name doesn't matter, and we have to, the one thing we do have to do here is we have to make a redirect URL to the Google OAuth playground. Now I'm just going to search that to get to it. Okay, and then we're going to go to here, and I'm going to link this in the video description, so it's not that painful to get to. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to copy this, and we're going to paste it into the redirect URL. And I'm just going to remove the slash because I read that some errors can happen if you have it. So now we are going to create, and that should be good. Okay, so now we have two things. We got a client ID and a client secret, and if you hit OK, you can still view it by going to the edit and seeing both of them. Okay, so now we have 2 out of 3 of the things that we need for this piece of code to work. The next one that we're going to need is we're going to need a refresh token. And to get that, we're going to actually go back to the Google Playground, and we are going to build a token here. So to do that, we are going to go to the settings, and we're going to add 2 things. Well, we're going to enable it to use our OAuth credentials to log in, and then so the combination of a refresh token and the credentials work now if I check that. And I need to put the credentials into those slots. So this ID goes there, secret goes to the second one. Okay, and then the one thing that we're going to actually have to enable, so you can enable almost everything that your Google account can do normally, and we are going to enable in the drive the read only. So they're not going to be able to modify anything with the script. The people seeing can't modify anything. And then yeah, we're going to authorize that, and it's going to ask permission on the email, and I'm going to say OK, and it's going to see and download all of your drive files, which is not very powerful. So now we are going to turn our authorization. We're going to make the refresh token by hitting this button, and that is it right here. So it took us to step 3. I'm just going to go back to step 2, and I'm going to take the refresh token, going to copy it, and now I have 3 out of 3 things I need. I have the client ID, the client secret, and the refresh token. So this script can now work with your information instead. And what we're going to be doing in here is we're just going to replace these lines with the ones we have here. So I'm going to start copying this, and I'm just going to one by one replace them. So that's the client ID. Okay, so that should now be done, and it should be able to hit run, and it'll print out your files instead of my files on my spare account. And that's going to be the biggest step. Now I believe I think that's all the steps. So now you can hit a button and it'll open up said file. This is an example file I just have on there. I'm going to go back now, and I'll show you how to make a new document that's ready for that. There's only a small step to making this work, and I'm just going to go through what you have to do. So we're going to make a blank document, and I'm just going to label this thing, okay, whatever. That's a good name. And then theme this. Okay, so now we got some content in there, and you can put images, you can put, I think you can put video, and we can just try this out. So this is not having the step done yet, and I want to show you what happens if you don't have it. So we need to publish this. Oh, okay, we don't need to publish this. This works. Okay, well, yeah. So now you know how to add things to this and change it up. And yeah, that's it really. You can go ahead and look at the code here and modify it. I think you can change the styling and the CSS and the actual HTML inside of here itself on your articles. And that's very helpful if you want to do things, and that was one of the hard parts of this, but yeah. Okay, so that's going to be the video. There might be a way to improve this project further, but I am not familiar with Google Cloud projects right now. If you have any questions or get stuck on anything in the tutorial, you can comment and I'll try to respond to it.